Hello everyone. In today's video, I will discuss about Michel Foucault's the concept of the archaeology of knowledge. In this video, I will try to understand what archaeology of knowledge means and what is the understanding of the knowledge according to the Michel Foucault, and how he related the development of knowledge in the historical the time period. So be connected. Let's begin. Foucault's interest was to understand how a particular set of ideas or a particular the concept was preeminent over a period of time, or how a particular the ideas or particular the principles of knowledge were preeminent or dominant for a long period of time. And his focus was also, that is, he was also interested in understanding how these the ideas changes over the period of time. So Michel Foucault was focused on the history of the knowledge, but his history of knowledge was different from the conventional understanding of the history of knowledge. According to him, the conventional history basically focuses on the discoveries, inventions or innovations in a particular time period. But according to him, the history should see that's how a set of ideas or the worldview was preeminent at particular point of time, at particular period, and this worldview to be replaced by another the greatest, another dominant ideas, because according to him the changes of the knowledge and concept ideas happens only once another the set of ideas, another concept which is dominant comes, and comes in its opposition, then only the existing set of ideas or the worldview may changes. So this is his idea of the knowledge and how to understand the knowledge of the history of the knowledge. Foucault observed that the history is often a description of certain events, certain phenomena that happened in the past. And according to him, this description basically detached the events from the nature of the human society. According to him, the history is the construction of human, that is, human beings constructed the history. And according to Michel Foucault, the history is ultimately the interaction of the individual, the result of the history, the result of the interaction of the individuals. For example, the history about the changing of power in a particular empire. So it is not just a replacement of the ruling class by another class, or replacement of one ruler by another ruler. No, it's a interaction among the individuals, interaction among the peoples, and to allocate power, or to the control power. So the history is the result of this interaction. So ultimately, according to him, this history, the conventional history, basically deals with the description of certain events and the certain phenomena, and it detached it from the actual interaction among the peoples. That is, what kind of interaction it was, what kind of set of ideas and the worldview was there, what kind of knowledge was there, was completely missing in those description of the events and the phenomena. Michel Foucault opposed this conventional way of describing history in a rational way, that is, in a sequential way. That is how historians sets a sequence of the various events that happened in the past. But Michel Foucault opposed and challenged this kind of historical description. According to him, the history is completely unpredictable, because human society is unpredictable. Why? Because human society do not create thought deliberately. Rather, these thoughts and the concepts and ideas are the product or the result of the individuals, the activities. So deliberately, human beings may not have created or produced the thought, but it was the result of their activities. So ultimately, the history is not predictable. History cannot be established just on the basis of certain sequence, certain rational sets, a sequence of certain events. Rather, it has to be understood in a relation to the nature of the society. He used the metaphor archaeology in his work, The Archaeology of Knowledge, and he used this archaeology metaphorically to understand the various layers of human understanding over the period of time, various layers of human understanding of the world over the period of time. That is how over the period of time human beings understood or human beings used the worldview about the society, about the world and universe. Here Foucault used the concept of episteme to understand the changes of the worldview, changes of the understanding of the world through knowledge. So here basically he tried to understand how the episteme changed over the period of time, that is over the different epochs of the human history, and how one episteme varied from one period to another period in terms of the characteristic, in terms of the features of the episteme. Now let's discuss what is episteme. According to Michel Foucault, in every period there exist certain principles, certain ideas, and that plays important role in creating knowledge, in establishing knowledge. And the human society or human beings comes into consensus about these ideas and principles. Once they come into the consensus that these ideas and principles are true, then these principles and ideas builds the particular knowledge within a particular rules, and these rules, according to Michel Foucault, is the intellectual rules. So within this intellectual rule, certain ideas, certain principles, which basically determines the creation and the establishment of the valid knowledge in any particular time period. Because why Foucault is saying valid knowledge? Because human society needs consensus over the ideas, over the principles, but it has to be within the intellectual rules. That is, any particular period of time the intellectuals decides a particular rules, and these rules derives this set of ideas and the principles, which again means they create and establish the valid knowledge. So according to Foucault, the collection of all these intellectual rules are called as episteme. That is, episteme means the episteme of any particular period, means that the rules, intellectual rules of any particular period, and these rules are very important to determine, or very important in the sense that it determines, it leads to the establishment of valid knowledge. Michel Foucault was interested in understanding how one episteme used to give way to another episteme, because he observed the changes of the episteme, the changes of the intellectual rules over the period of time. So he tried to understand that if in any particular time period was characterized by a particular episteme, that was the main source, that was the origin of the establishment of the knowledge, and people had the complete consensus over it. People's thinking was determined by this episteme. Then how the one can explain the changes of the episteme? That is how one can understand the opposite or other episteme to come in the way of the existing episteme. So then he gave you the answer, then he found the solution, that according to him, in every time period there will be certain persons who opposes the existing episteme, who opposes the existing the intellectual rules, the principles, the ideas, and these opposition ultimately leads to the formation of another episteme, and once this new episteme becomes the dominant, it may replace the previous one. Michel Foucault discussed the features of episteme over the historical epochs. Basically, he mentioned about the three historical epochs that are very remarkable in the establishment of the knowledge, in the creation of knowledge. And his understanding of these epochs are basically in terms of the characteristic of the episteme. So what are these three epochs? These three epochs are Renaissance period, the classical period, and the modern period. So basically he understands the characteristic of episteme in the Renaissance period, in the classical period, and in the modern period. According to Michel Foucault, in the Renaissance period, human beings tried to understand the connection between things, and human beings also focused on the understanding the connection between the stars, the planets, that is solar system, with the human beings. So Michel Foucault found that in the Renaissance period, astrological observations and the observation of the solar system basically means try to understand the link and the relation between the solar system, that is the planets, stars, with the human beings. And it was founded that there was a very close relation, close link between the human personality or the human beings, the act and activity, with the solar system, with the universe. So this is how the Renaissance period had established its knowledge. So that was the characteristic of the episteme in the Renaissance period. Basically, then Foucault found that the Renaissance period was replaced by classical period. Classical period was basically the starting of the rational understanding of the world. And Foucault believes that the Renaissance period started its rational understanding of the world, but that rational understanding was basically understanding the relation between the human beings, that is human society or human beings, with the natural objects like stars, planets, and other natural bodies of the solar system. But in the classical period, the objective understanding of the relationship between human beings and the human and nature established. Basically, the concept of measurement came because of the development of mathematics, and this measurement basically has developed objective the scale, that is objective understanding of the phenomena of the world, of the object, and it means it created the scientific, rational, and objective understanding, and it helped to classify the world. It helps to classify the universe. So the understanding of the world was not based on intuition, rather based on the objective classification, objective measurement through the scale. So this was the feature of the episteme of the classical period. According to Michel Foucault, the third epoch is the modern period. So that is in the 19th century this modern period emerged, and that modern period is again characterized by a different type of the episteme, that is a different characteristic of episteme is found in the modern period. In the modern period, the various factors like the social, economic, political are uses to understand the society. And in the modern period, the different processes of power and authority, the mobility, the social stratification are mainly uses by the social scientists, philosophers to understand the human society and human society's existence in the natural world and the universe. So this is a new form of knowledge that emerged in the modern period. So basically here Michel Foucault mentioned about the three epochs, and the three epochs has changed the episteme, that has changed the knowledge over the period of time. and this knowledge changed over the period of time because of the variation of the episteme. So if we see that the Renaissance period was basically based on based on the understanding of the human beings, the human being significance. That is how human beings were significant in terms of the relation it established with the planets and stars and with other the natural systems, with other the solar systems. Again, the modern period, the classical period, and then mainly focused on the understanding of the objects, understanding of the natural objects, or understanding of the world objectively. It basically classified through measurement. So basically the classical and the period had the knowledge that tried to understand the world objectively. Again, in the modern period, the understanding of the world was through the human beings. That is, the significance of the human beings again came into the intellectual, or in the rules, or in the episteme. So this is the discussion of the present video about the archaeology of knowledge. In the next video, I will continue again this archaeology of the knowledge, and then I will also discuss about the power. So be connected, because this is a very important topic, Michel Foucault, and very complex also to understand. So be careful and try to watch till the end.